7th grade, we are on lesson 1.4, applying addition and subtraction of integers. And probably you're feeling pretty confident for the most part of adding and subtracting integers with maybe a few issues here and there, but for the most part, you're probably fine. So that's probably not going to be the issue in this lesson. What I know is going to be the issue is this is about solving real world problems or word problems. And I know when I work with you guys, you set up this big wall and you panic and you see words like, I don't know, help me. And sometimes I just tell you, okay, let's read it. And then we read it and then you say, never mind, I get it. So big thing is word problems is to start by not being afraid of them. They are not the monster they seem like. They're just little kitty cats in disguise. So the best steps for me that I have found on any time I'm dealing with word problems is I read it and I sometimes reread it and I sometimes reread it again to let my brain simmer and marinate in what the information is there. I underline what is it I need to solve, which is usually the last sentence or two. I circle what information is given. I always draw it because it helps me. It helps my brain. Why not do it if it helps? So I do that. And then usually that's enough where I know what it is I need to calculate. Sometimes I still struggle at this point on what I need to calculate or what calculation maybe that I need to do. And usually those are the times where I'm struggling with the numbers that are very, very big or very, very small or very, very decimally or very, very fraction-y. So sometimes a trick I use if I'm at that point and stuck on what the numbers are, I'll change the numbers temporarily to very simple numbers like a 2 or a 3. And then I'll kind of work through the problem that same way again, the info given with simple numbers. And suddenly it's like the clouds clear and it all makes sense. So let's take these steps through this problem and see how we do. So a seal is swimming in the ocean 5 feet below sea level. It dives down 12 feet to catch some fish. And then the seal swims 8 feet up toward the surface with its catch. What is the seal's final elevation relative to sea level? Well, step 2 says underline what I need to know. So I'm going to underline what I need to know. I want to know what the seal's final elevation relative to sea level is. Hopefully it's negative, right? Because we're hoping that seal is still underwater unless it jumped out of the water, but it should still be underwater, so it should be negative. What information is given? I'm going to circle that. It starts 5 feet below zero. And I can even put there in notes above it, 5 feet below sea level, below zero is -5 is where it starts. Then it dives down 12 feet. Is dives down going to be a positive or negative? Yeah, that's going to be a negative. You're right. So -12 to catch some fish. And then the seal swims 8 feet up toward the surface with its catch. Well, is that going to be a positive or a negative? You're right. That's a positive. Let's draw the picture. So I've got some water here and I've got my seal. That's a seal. Okay, maybe it's not. Here we go. Okay, we're going to just have to pretend. That's my seal. He starts underwater, which is good, at -5 because that's 5 feet below sea level where sea level is 0. And then it says he dives down 12 feet. So he goes down -12 more than he was before. And then he goes up 8 feet. So he goes up +8. So now that I have the picture and it's starting to make sense in my brain, I'm going to put my starting point, -5. Then I know he went down by 12. Then I know he went up. I could also write this like this. Like that. This is the same as that. I'm adding a negative is same as subtracting, as you probably started recognizing in the last lesson. If you like it this way better, then do it that way better. Then I just go ahead and solve it one bite at a time. A -5 added to a -12 is going to be a -17. Cross that off, bring down what we didn't do yet. A -17 plus an 8. I owe $17. I have 8 in my pocket. Yeah, I'm going to still owe $9. So my seal is still underwater. That's good. 9 feet underwater. So very reasonable. We hope he's still underwater, right? All right, let's look at another one. Using these steps again. Eventually, hopefully, these steps kind of get stuck in your brain, and this is how you always approach these, and they don't scare us anymore. Irene has a checking account. That's good. On Monday, she writes a $160 check for groceries. Important to know on this one, $160 check or writing a check is like as telling people I'm giving you this money. So it's coming out of your bank account, right? So that's just something to keep in mind. When she writes a check, she's taking money out of her bank account. Then she deposits $125. And if you don't have a bank account, you don't know what deposit means. It means she got money from somewhere and she put it into her bank account. Finally, she writes another check for $40. What was the total change in the amount of Irene's account? Well, they want me to find the change in the amount of Irene's account. That's the question. So step 2 is to underline the question. I'm going to go back and circle the information they gave me. They told me she has a checking account. That's good. On Monday, she writes a check for $160. When you write a check, again, that's money going out of your account. So we're going to figure that's a negative 160, money going out. Then she deposits $125. Deposits $125 means she got money from somewhere and put it into her account. So we're looking at a positive $125. Then she writes another check, writes a check for $40. That's money going out of her account, so minus 40. Draw the picture. Step 4, draw the picture. Let your brain figure this out. So I have this bank, and she sends $160 out by writing a check, but then she puts $125 into her bank account, and then she sends out another $40. So let's calculate that. We don't know what she started with, but we know whatever it was, she took $160 out, and then she added $125, and then she took another $40 out. So where does that leave us? Well, let's start one bite at a time. Negative 160 plus 125. So we have more negatives than we do positives, so we know that answer is going to be negative. How much more? We find the difference between them. So we'll just do this off to the side over here. 160 minus 125. That's 5. That's 335 in difference. Cross off what I did. Bring down what I haven't done yet. Now I have negative 35 and then negative 40 going out. So she's already down by $35 and she's sending another 40 out. So she's going to she's going to lose those two amounts together. It's going to be more. So it's 75. So her account is 75 less than it was at the beginning of the week, I guess, because she started doing that this week. So it's $75 less than it was before we started all this mess. All right, so hopefully you're starting to kind of calm down and realize, oh, I just do this one step at a time. Don't be afraid of the words. As I do these steps, it suddenly reveals, like the sun coming through the clouds, reveals what needs to happen. I hope you're starting to feel that way. All right, so we've got this word problem. The Tigers, a football team, must gain 10 yards in the next 4 plays to keep possession of the ball. The Tigers lose 12 yards, gain 5 yards, lose 8 yards, and gain 14 yards. Do the Tigers maintain possession of the ball? Well, I'm going to underline the question that it's after. Then I'm going to go through and circle the information they gave me. In order to maintain possession of the ball, in the next 4 plays, they need to go positive 10. They need to gain 10 yards. Okay. So what did they do in the next 4 plays? Well, they lost 12. They gained 5. They lost 8. And they gained 14. Okay. We know what those means in positives and negatives, but let's draw this out. Okay. They're starting here. That's the football team. They need to get here, and they have 4 plays to do it in. So we know that in the first play, they lost 12 yards. So that's a negative 12. Going the wrong way, buddy. Then they gained 5, so that's a positive 5. That's a little better. Then they lost 8. Oh no. And then they gained 14. Okay, good. Was it enough to get them from here to the 10 yards that they needed? So let's find out how much they gained or lost. I don't know. I'm not feeling good about these guys on this one. So we have the negative 12 that they lost in the first play put together with the, I guess I don't need a parenthesis because it's a positive 5. They gained 5, put together with the loss of 8, put together with the gain of 14. Okay? Now just a bite at a time, we're going to calculate this. Negative 12 plus 5. They didn't get all of it back. They're still in the negative. Negative 7. Cross off what I did. Bring down what I didn't. Next bite. Negative 7 plus a negative 8. Well, they were negative already, and now they're negative some more. So we're even more negative. We are now even more negative. We are by negative 15. Cross off what you did. Bring down what you didn't. Now I have negative 15 plus 14. So I'm negative still because I have more negatives than positives, but only one negative. They lost a total of 1 yard. So they lost 1 yard in those 4 plays when they needed to gain 10. So they're not even close. So, if you look over to the sidelines, you'll see Coach over there throwing his clipboard down and stomping on it and all that. Well, no, hopefully not. But yeah, they did not get the 10 yards they needed. They are going to lose possession of the ball, and the other team's going to get their chance instead. So, word problems. Don't let them scare you anymore. You know how to do the calculations. I wasn't too worried about that. I know that your concern when you see word problems for a lot of you is to get nervous. So use these steps. Read it. Reread it if you're not sure. Read it a third time if you're not sure. I do that. Underline the questions. Circle the information they gave you. Draw a picture. And by the time you've done all that, suddenly it's like, oh, that's all I have to do? Okay. So good luck.